Today, I want to speak to your heart about something deeply important: how to create a peaceful home. Our homes are meant to be sanctuaries of God's peace and presence, not storage units overflowing with stress and distractions. My name is Julie, and I've been married for longer than a decade. I'm a mama to my beautiful 4-year-old son, a joyful homemaker, and I have a passion for helping and encouraging wives in their marriages. But above all, I am a daughter of God. Today, I'm taking you along while decluttering some of the things in my house and doing some chores, while I share about creating a peaceful atmosphere within your home. Proverbs 14 verse 1 says, "The wise woman builds her house, but with her own hands the foolish one tears hers down." Wives, we are the builders of our homes, and we build not just with our hands, but with our hearts, attitudes, and the way we create an atmosphere of peace. Let me start by asking you to imagine something for a moment. Picture yourself sitting down after a long day. You're ready to rest, but your eyes wander across the room, and what do you see? Clutter, toys, laundry, dishes. You feel overwhelmed because as homemakers, it seems like the work is never done. I've been there too, and still are sometimes. But I want to remind you that God calls us to peace, not chaos. 1 Corinthians 14 verse 33 tells us, "For God is not a God of disorder, but of peace." When we invite God's peace into our homes, it changes everything. The first step in creating this peace is decluttering, not just physically, but mentally and spiritually too. Have you ever noticed how much lighter you feel after decluttering a room? Imagine that multiplied throughout your entire home. Decluttering isn't just about tidying up, it's about creating space for God's peace to flow. Hebrews 12 verse 1 tells us to throw off everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles. While that verse speaks about sin, I believe it also speaks to the distractions in our lives, including the physical clutter that can weigh us down. Let me give you an example. In my son's room, at one point, there were so many toys that he didn't even know where to start when he wants to play, up into a point that he doesn't play and just feels bored. It was overwhelming for him. So I removed most of the toys and began rotating them weekly. Suddenly, he started enjoying his playtime more because he wasn't overstimulated. This principle applies to us too. When we simplify our surroundings, we create more room for peace and joy to fill our homes. As wives and mothers, we are constantly pouring out, but if our homes are cluttered and chaotic, it can feel like we're pouring into a broken vessel. So, I encourage you to think about what truly matters. Jesus said in Luke 12 verse 15, "Life does not consist in an abundance of possessions." Let's focus on what brings peace rather than accumulating more things that bring stress. Now, another thing that can impact the peace in our home is overstimulation, especially with noisy battery-empowered toys. If you feel constantly irritated by the noise, it might be time to reevaluate. In our home, we limit these types of toys because they can add to the chaos rather than calm. Instead, I encourage you to spend more time outside. Psalm 19 verse 1 says, "The heavens declare the glory of God. The skies proclaim the work of his hands." There's something so restorative about being in God's creation, letting our children run and explore, and taking a moment ourselves to breathe in his goodness. Just stepping outside can help us reset, both emotionally and spiritually. Creating peace in the home also involves how we treat our husbands. Proverbs 31 verse 12 reminds us, "She brings him good, not harm, all the days of her life." This means creating a space where your husband feels welcomed, loved, and at peace. Imagine him coming home after a long day of work. Wouldn't you want him to walk into an atmosphere of calm rather than chaos? It doesn't have to be perfect, but when we intentionally make our home a refuge, it strengthens our marriage. I try to make sure that when my husband comes home, the house is calm, dinner is ready, and the noise of the day has settled. It's not always easy, and I don't always get it right, but making that effort tells him you are loved, and this is a place of rest for you. And wives, when we do this, we honor God because we are fulfilling our role as his helpmate and partner. But creating peace, it doesn't just stop with our husbands. It also extends to our children. Psalm 127 verse 3 tells us that children are a heritage from the Lord, a reward from him. So as we guide and nurture them, we need to remember that they are living in the moment, exploring the world with fresh eyes. They are not in a hurry, and often neither should we be. Slowing down with them, being patient, and allowing ourselves to see the world through their eyes can help bring peace into our homes. I've learned this through experience. Instead of rushing my son from one activity to the next, I've started to build extra time into our day. Whether it's playing a game or simply letting him explore, I've had to shift my mindset from urgency to presence, and that's what God calls us to do. Be present. Proverbs 16 verse 32 says, "Better a patient person than a warrior, one with self-control than one who takes a city." When we are patient with our children, we create an environment of love and peace where they can flourish. Even if I just have to dress my son, I put in extra 10 minutes because they get distracted so easily. And I don't know about your child, but mine likes to talk a lot. So while dressing, he has all these stories he wants to include. So having an extra 10 minutes to just slow down and listen while we are getting dressed has made me more patient and has made the environment more peaceful to do things. And this I do with everything that me and my son do together. I add extra minutes to whatever we are going to do. So let me encourage you today. Start small, but start now. Walk into your home and ask yourself, what can I declutter? Both physically and spiritually, so that peace has room to grow. Maybe that means rotating your children's toys, stepping outside for a moment of calm, or taking an extra few minutes to tidy up before your husband comes home. Maybe it's even reevaluating what your child watches on television or the music that you are listening to. We cannot expect our children to be peaceful. They're constantly watching high-energy cartoons and films. Neither can we expect them to be peaceful if they're constantly watching violence on television. So sometimes it's worth it to reevaluate what they are watching and to find cartoons and films that is not overstimulating. Remember, God's peace is available to us, but we have to make space for it. Philippians 4 verse 7 reminds us that the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. Let's be intentional about creating that peace in our homes. Thank you so much for joining me today. Let's continue to build our homes with wisdom, patience, and love, always relying on the strength and peace that comes from God. If this video blessed you, I'd love for you to like, subscribe, and share it with another wife who can use a little encouragement today. I'll see you in my next video. May God's peace be with you.